Over the years, while building different projects, learning new skills, and jumping into one adventure after another, I started noticing a strange pattern. The people who looked wealthy often seemed busy proving it. The people who seemed the most free rarely felt the need to. And the longer I paid attention, the harder it became to ignore. It made me wonder, what does real wealth actually look like? Welcome back to the adventures of Jumong. Saying Jumong, different adventure. If you spend enough time on social media, you'll start seeing the same story repeated over and over again. Luxury cars, oversized watches, expensive vacations, carefully crafted lifestyles designed to look impressive. We've been taught to believe that wealth is supposed to be loud, that success is measured by visibility, that the more attention you attract, the more successful you must be. But while building systems, learning lessons from different chapters, and paying attention to the people around me, I started noticing something different. Many of the people making the most noise were carrying the heaviest financial pressure, and many of the people who seemed the most free barely talked about money at all. That's when I realized something. Real money gets quieter as it grows. At one point, I started asking myself what a wealthy person is actually supposed to look like. Most people imagine luxury vehicles, designer brands, large homes, a lifestyle designed to attract attention. But the reality is often much less exciting and much more powerful. Imagine someone with significant assets, the kind of person most people would never notice. Driving an older car, living below their means, keeping their finances private, building systems that continue working whether anyone is watching or not. Nobody in the office knows what they've built. Nobody in the neighborhood knows what they own. To most people, they look average, but they're carrying something incredibly rare: the power to say no. While many people are trapped inside a golden cage, working jobs they dislike to support lifestyles they cannot sustain, the quiet builder has options. When a toxic opportunity appears, they can walk away. When more money comes attached to more stress, they can decline. When pressure arrives, they don't negotiate from fear. That realization changed the way I looked at wealth. Money wasn't buying status. Money was buying leverage. Money was buying peace. Money was buying time. And ownership of time might be the most valuable asset of all. That led me to another question. How do people actually build that kind of freedom? The answer wasn't exciting. In fact, it was the opposite. While building different chapters of my own life, I kept running into the same reality. Nothing important was built quickly. Not music, not trading, not archives, not systems. Different chapters, same lesson. Meaningful progress usually happens inside what I call the builder's corridor. A long stretch of time where almost nothing feels exciting. No applause, no recognition, no celebration, just consistent action, repeated over and over again. Most people leave the corridor early, not because the process doesn't work, but because the process doesn't reward attention. Nobody congratulates you for making responsible decisions. Nobody celebrates your consistency. Nobody applauds discipline. But almost every meaningful asset is built there. Inside the corridor, compounding works the same way. The people who benefit the most are often the ones willing to stop staring at the results and simply keep building. One step, one system, one asset at a time. As I continued thinking about wealth, another realization appeared, and strangely enough, nobody talks about it. The greatest return on investment I've ever seen isn't measured in percentages. It's measured in peace of mind. Eventually, life happens. Something breaks. An emergency appears. Someone you care about suddenly needs help. For many people, that moment becomes a financial disaster. Stress arrives. Debt arrives. Fear arrives. The problem multiplies. But for the quiet builder, the experience looks different. The problem appears. The solution is available. Action is taken. Life keeps moving. And that's when I realized something important. The purpose of wealth was never the number itself. The purpose was freedom. The purpose was stability. The purpose was reducing unnecessary suffering. The purpose was removing fear where possible. At its highest level, capital becomes protection. And that's a return no chart can fully measure. Eventually, something unexpected happens. You stop trying to look successful. You stop comparing chapters. You stop chasing validation. You stop treating other people's lifestyles like a scoreboard. The need to impress begins disappearing. And with it comes something much more valuable. Freedom. Nobody owns your schedule. Nobody owns your decisions. Nobody owns your future. You don't need constant noise to prove your worth. Just a clear purpose. A working system. A path worth continuing. And the freedom to choose your next move. The world calls it money. Builders call it freedom. This chapter taught me something I'll probably never forget. Loud wealth is often expensive. Pressure wearing a nice outfit. Real wealth becomes quieter. Real wealth becomes optionality. Real wealth becomes freedom. Build assets. Buy freedom. Preserve chapters. Preserve what matters before it is forgotten. This is The Adventures of Jumong. Same Jumong, different adventure. And I'll see you in the next chapter.